Hello, everybody. How are you? I'm just gonna wait until this loads. I am so excited. I am so excited to have this conversation today. This is going to be so good. Okay, I'm just gonna make sure. I'm gonna pull this up, get my notes ready, because for those of you who have been with me, you know if this isn't your first rodeo with me, then you know that I read off a lot of notes. I take a lot of notes because I have a lot to say, and sometimes it's just hard to remember it all. It's hard to take it all in. Okay, let me just pull this up. So as always, if you are catching this live, please let me know that you are here. I love being able to actually talk to people and not feel as though I'm the only one in the room, because sometimes when you're talking to a computer, that can be the vibe, and I don't want that to be the vibe. So hold on one second. I'm just going to pull this up. Okay. We got it. Okay. So first of all, I always just want to thank you guys so much for just being with me here today. Hey Elizabeth, I can't tell you how excited I am to be able to have these types of conversations. I feel as though lately I have been wanting to have deeper conversations with women about health, and I think especially in this day and age, it can be really hard because so many women are so focused on quick fixes, the food as being, the thing. And so I really want to be able to sort of elevate the health industry. I really want to be able to take us to the next level of going deeper than just the diet that we're on. Hey Tasneem, hey Jody. And so a few weeks ago, I hosted a masterclass, and it was called 93%. And so in the masterclass, I taught really how the Nourish system has been able to achieve an unheard of success rate with our weight loss method in an industry that really has basically a 95% success rate. We at Nourish have been able to achieve 93 for a couple weeks now. Now, obviously, it waxes and wanes, but when we started to take a look at how wonderful our clients were doing, I really started to think about what made us different. And I really truly believe that the key to how wonderful our clients do and the success of our clients lies in two things. It's obviously the simplicity of our strategy, and the ability to be able to, it keeps cutting out. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Let me just see. I don't really know what to do. But we'll try to hang in there. If not, I'm sure the replay will be better. But so the key to our strategy basically lies within two things. It's the simplicity within the strategy in terms of what we teach you about food, how I truly believe sustainable it is. But I think the other thing is it's the caliber in which we raise our clients to. It is the standard in which we hold them to during our 6-week process. And what do I mean when I say caliber? What I mean is that there are many women out there who are just trying to lose weight. And they are doing it from a place of lack. They are doing it from a place of disbelief. They're doing it from a place of having unrealistic expectations. And they try to take who they are in this present moment, with all of their negative thought processes, with their beliefs, with all of that patterning, and then they try to achieve outcomes that don't match their current vibration. And so it's you're doing the same thing, expecting different results. Meaning we're starting diets with the intention of only eating this way for 3 months. And then you're believing that you're going to be able to maintain those results without the same effort that got you there in the first place. Or for example, like myself, where you come from an overweight family where you struggle with your weight for your entire life, and yet you think that a diet is going to solve all of those problems for you and heal your relationship with food. We basically are doing things to get an outcome. We are motivated by a number on the scale. And so then what does that mean when we finally do reach that number? We lose it all. What does it mean when we then start to see success? We take the foot off the gas. What does it mean then when we had a bad day or a stressful week or go out for dinner or go on vacation? We fall right back into the patterns and the behaviors that we've been doing for our entire life because it's our default, which is really what consistency codes is truly all about. It's changing your default behavior, reprogramming your brain so that you no longer think like a person who's trying to lose weight. You think of yourself as somebody who no longer struggles with weight. Weight loss is easy. Taking care of yourself is easy. Eating well becomes easy. You no longer think like someone who's scared of falling off track. You have 100% confidence in yourself to do anything that you put your mind to. You trust yourself fully. You believe in yourself completely. You no longer think like a person who stresses over every single morsel they put in their mouth. You think like a person that knows exactly what to eat, how much to eat, and never gives food a second thought again. Imagine never giving food a second thought. Imagine never needing to jump on the scale because you just maintain your weight effortlessly. Imagine a life where food and your weight are no longer even issues for you. This is what we are teaching in Consistency Codes this week. The process that I used to go from being a woman who was over 200 pounds, stressed out about food, never believed that I could have a six-pack, having an entire family who struggled with weight, like it genetically every uphill battle, to losing 80 pounds, maintaining my results, and now teaching women how to do it the exact same way with a 93% success rate. Because if you follow the steps that I'm going to teach you, diet or no diet, you are going to see your life transform in front of your eyes. And so these past few weeks, I've been putting together this program. And initially when I put it together, I really believed that there were 5 codes to achieving a lifestyle so bulletproof that it can withstand kids, careers, moves, vacations, tragedy. Until yesterday. And I was having a conversation with my mentor. And we were talking about the process that I used to be able to manifest my health goals and maintain them for almost a decade now. And then it dawned on me that there was a 6th code, which is really what this class is about. And I'm going to truly argue, although I think all 5 codes, I'm going to say they're essential, I truly believe that this code is one of the more pivotal ones. This is one of the most important ones, which is why I wanted to teach this to you here, because whether you're here just looking for some free coaching or you're actually interested in joining Consistency Codes or you're a part of Consistency Codes and you're ready to transform your life, this is going to be essential for you to realize and heal in this process. And so what I realized yesterday while talking to my mentor was that the reason why I missed the 6th code was because it is so part of who I am now that I didn't even realize what a huge piece to this puzzle it was. But back when I was struggling to lose weight, I didn't have an ounce of it. And that is belief. And I say this because belief encapsulates so much of this process, but not in the ways that you think. Because the first hurdle is actually in order to achieve weight loss. And I don't just mean lose the weight. I am talking about the rest of your life never thinking about food, living in a body that you love. This isn't even an issue for you. In order to get there, the first hurdle is believing that that is even a possibility for you. that that kind of existence, that future even exists. Because if you've never been able to lose weight and actually keep it off, and I'm not talking about for a hot minute, I'm not talking about like, oh yeah, I lost, 30 pounds and whatever. I'm talking about forever. If you've never been able to stop a snack habit, if you've never been able to maintain a diet for longer than 3 months, if you've never been able to feel confident around food, then your belief in your ability to achieve that kind of life that I was talking about is likely a little bit wobbly, which then means that subconsciously there is a little voice in the back of your head that actually is talking you outside of your dreams every single day instead of into them. And this bleeds into how you make decisions, which bleeds into your ability to achieve success, which then confirms the beliefs and strengthens them in you even more. And I'm going to give you an example because I'm a visual person and I love the visuals. So let's say, for example, you have 30 pounds to lose. Let's say, for example, that your partner isn't on board with healthy eating. Let's say, for example, your kids are picky eaters. Let's say, for example, that, making time to meal prep feels really hard just with everything that you've got going on. And it's never been something that's come easy to you and you don't know exactly what to eat or how much. So then your belief system is, this is hard. Your belief system is, I don't have support. Your belief system is, my family isn't on board, so I'm alone in this. Your belief system is, making healthy food is hard. I don't have the time. I'll never be able to keep this up. Subconsciously, you tell yourself you need a diet that is then fast, uncomplicated, and that you can do. We trick ourselves into thinking like, I just need something that I can do for a short period of time so that I can get this weight off. And then once I get this weight off, everything's going to work out. Because something quick and simple, your belief system can get behind. Oh yeah, if I only have to do it for 3 months, I can totally do that. Something like cutting out carbs maybe. So then you decide to do that. And maybe it goes well for the first couple weeks. And maybe you're seeing results. But then maybe something happens, like a birthday dinner or, something at a friend's house or a bad day, and you cave and you have carbs. And then your belief in yourself starts to diminish because then there's one more notch on the belt of, I can't do this. Or maybe you do stick to a diet and lose the weight and then it comes back. And so then you start to believe that maybe this just isn't your destiny. Maybe you're just not meant to be this weight. Maybe this is, I remember I had this story. Maybe this is just how my body is going to be after kids. Which then starts to impact us on a deeper level. Because we then start to believe that we're not good enough. That we don't have what it takes. That we aren't deserving of the body that we desire, that we don't need or are worthy of feeling incredible. And slowly, we start to move further and further and further away from our goals. And further and further and further away from believing that having the body that we want is even possible. Which also then means that we're less likely to take risks. We're less likely to bet on ourselves because we don't think that we have the ability to follow through. And then so any little obstacle that comes up becomes a mountain instead of a pebble because we've now conditioned ourselves to believe that we can't overcome it. The kids are picky eaters. I can't do this. My partner has horrible habits. I won't be able to stick to it. We become problem seekers instead of solution creators, which is in relation to another code that we're going to be diving into next week, which I'm so freaking excited about. Which is why then we start to see things like, say, for example, working with a health coach, seeking out support as something that would be a waste of money. instead of an opportunity to challenge ourselves and these limiting beliefs and allow us to grow. But here's the thing that you need to know. Like, here's the thing. If there's anything that like you take with yourself today, I want it to be this. Your belief in yourself has to be strong because you're going to need it every single day. You're going to need it when things aren't going well. You're going to need it when things come up and they try to sabotage you. You're going to need it when you feel like giving up. Because when we make choices from our for our highest good from misaligned places, it's always going to backfire. And what I mean by that is like when you want to lose weight, but you're doing it from a place of like, I just care about the number on the scale. I just want to get into a size, a certain size of jeans. It's always going to backfire because here's the truth. You are the type of person that can get shit done when she needs to. You can make it through anything because you have shown yourself that, I'm convinced, at various points in your life. You can finish what you start because you do it all the time if you really take the time to stop and look. You have forgotten your magic. And so the work then becomes showing yourself what is the truth, reminding yourself of that every day. And here's the thing that I need you to know as somebody who has been there. Oftentimes, if you feel like you've been at this for a while, like I was, for 10 years, without success, you're going to lack this belief for yourself. It's going to be really, really hard to find. Which is why, for me, I had to find someone who had done it, who had done the very thing that I was looking to do, who has been there before, and who I could lean on to have that belief for me until I was able to build it up for myself so that it became my new normal. And I have this conversation a lot with women who are afraid to work with me or to take their, the next step in their health journey. And I say to them, lean on my belief in you until you have cultivated it within yourself. Because I'm going to be honest, for a lot of women, that's all they need. That's all they need is somebody who believes in them, who can see their magic when they can't, to help take them by the hand and show them the way when they feel lost. And this is so powerful. I'm going to tell you guys a story because about 40 years ago, there was a prison in Hawaii. True story. You can Google this. There was a prison in Hawaii, and they had probably the worst prisoners of all time. They were struggling to keep staff. These prisoners were horrible. They were throwing things at each other. They were hurting it. They weren't even allowed out in the courtroom or in the courtyard because they were just horrible. Horrible. And the situation was dire because the staff was leaving and they didn't know what to do. They couldn't bring in new staff because this prison had gotten the worst reputation and nobody wanted to work there. And so they called in this psychiatrist for help. And he agreed to come in. And the only thing that he said was, I don't want you to question my methods. I'm going to do this my way. And as long as I can do this my way, I promise I'm going to come in and I'm going to change this place like you've never seen before. And so they said, fine. And so he came in and he sat in his office and he never saw any one of the inmates once. Never visited with them once. He had all of their files, and every single day he would go through their files and he would use this technique called Ho'oponopono. It's a Hawaiian sort of like prayer. And every day he would go through the files doing Ho'oponopono on them. Never saw them once. He healed every single prisoner in that prison. Within weeks, their entire demeanor changed. And it was because he believed in who they were. He believed in their hearts. He believed in their goodness, their souls. And all they needed was somebody to believe in them. And through the power of energy alone, he completely transformed this entire prison. Because what we believe, how our minds think, can literally change the trajectory of our lives. And I'm reminded of a study that they did a couple years ago. I think it was in New York. And they did it with hotel maids. And there was these researchers who were so baffled, completely baffled by the fact that these maids, even though they were doing physically demanding jobs every single day, flipping mattresses, vacuuming floors on floors on floors, scrubbing toilets, cleaning everything, they were all overweight. Many of them had diabetes, had high cholesterol, had high blood pressure. Their health was horrible, truthfully. And so they did this study where they took these two groups of maids. And with one group, all they did was tell them about the importance of eating healthy and taking care of themselves. That's it. They showed them all of the benefits, how it could change their lives. It's really important that you eat healthy, you take care of yourself. The other group, they sat them down and they explained to them how many calories they were burning every single day, how strong they had to be in order to flip mattresses, how physically fit they were because of their jobs. That's it. That's all they said. Your job is physically demanding. It makes you stronger every day. You are burning thousands of calories every single day. And within 30 days, both groups came back. One group stayed the same. They knew all of the benefits, all the things that would happen if they took care of themselves, if they ate well. Nothing happened. The second group lost weight, shed inches. Their cholesterol numbers improved. So many health changes were reported. Why? Because their belief in themselves and who they were changed. They no longer were just maids. They saw themselves as women who had active jobs. They therefore believed that they needed to take care of themselves better. So they ate better. They moved their bodies more. That was it. They weren't given a meal plan. They weren't told to, do a certain number of squats every single day. Their belief about who they were changed. And so your belief has to be so strong. I always say, it has to be as strong as going through a Starbucks drive-through. When you go through any drive-through, really, I'm just going to say Starbucks, that's the only drive-through I go through. When I go through a Starbucks drive-through and I order my venti matcha latte, however I order it, that's always what I get. And I order my matcha latte. There is no doubt that when I get to the pickup window that I'm going to get exactly what I'm going to order, exactly what I ordered. I know I'm getting it. I have zero doubt. And even if they do mess it up, I know it's coming to me. They're going to get it right. And that is how strong your belief system has to be. Because here's the unfortunate thing that I hate to say to everybody, but it is so true. If you want an amazing life, if you want a body that you love, if you want to be able to lose weight and keep it off and feel incredible every single day, you have to be prepared to hold it all. Because you cannot have the riches of life. You cannot have the beauty. You cannot have the abundance. You cannot be rewarded with the best things in the world if you also cannot hold the worst. And you have to be able to hold both, because nobody gets a free ride. You have to have that strong belief, because what is faith if it is not tested? Which is part of what this next week with consistency codes is all about. It's not only helping you cultivate this unshakable belief in yourself, but it's going to be walking you through the 5 other essential codes to achieving weight loss success and creating a life of food freedom. We're going to be giving you tangible, practical tools to help you stay the course no matter what, but we're also going to be diving deep into the mindset to help reprogram your brain and align you energetically for success. Because at the end of this, and it's funny, we've been talking a lot about this actually in the nervous system. At the end of this, when you achieve your goals, everybody thinks that everything will be so easy. And the truth of the matter is that's when things get the hardest. That's when things become so hard, because you've achieved your goals. So what's stopping you from going out for dinner? What's stopping you from skipping a workout or two? When we're there, if getting there was what motivated us, what do we then do once we've arrived? And so we need to be able to create a belief system. We need to be able to align our goals with ultimately who we are. So the very first exercise for today is helping you heal your beliefs and realigning you to what is true. Now, there's another practice that I'm going to be sharing with you in Consistency Codes on Sunday, which is day 1, which is going to show you how powerful your mind is. The first 5 minutes of this call are going to fucking change your life. But we're going to start with this. So your exercise, and I really, really encourage you, because I know a lot of women do this, I really, really encourage you to do this as soon as possible after we get off the call so that you don't lose momentum. Because we very quickly, especially if you don't have the belief system, you're going to lose momentum very, very quickly. So as soon as possible, I want you to do this. I want you to take out a pen and paper, and in cursive writing, cursive is very important. In cursive writing, I want you to take every belief that you have about weight loss, your weight, your body, food. I want you to write them all out. The ugly, the bad, all of it. Everything that's been holding you back from achieving your health goals. And then I want you to, with every single one of those beliefs, I want you to disprove that belief to yourself. I want you to be a solution creator. So if your belief is, I don't have the time, I want you to be able to disprove that statement. Is it that you don't have the time? Or is it that you're misusing the time that you have? If your belief system is, my kids are picky and I can't stay on track, I want you to challenge that thought. Is that true? And within that, is that even serving? Is that serving your family as a whole? Is letting your kids lead the dynamic of your family the type of woman that you want to be? Or do you want to be the matriarch? I said this the other day on my IG stories. I was like, there are 2 kinds of women in this world. There are the matriarchs and there are the martyrs. Which one do you want to be? And so I want you to take those beliefs and I want you to disprove them. And then on a new sheet of paper, I want you to write out what your new beliefs are. What you believe to be true about your body, what you believe to be true about your potential, about who you are, about how you show up. What is the truth? And once you've done that, I want you to take the old beliefs the paper with the old beliefs on them, and I want you to burn it. And as you are burning that paper, I want you to read out your new beliefs, and I want you to keep reading them. Because this is what's true. This is what's true. This is what we have to hold on to every single day if we are ever going to be able to achieve the things that we want to achieve. So that concludes the training for today. Now, if you are in consistency codes, we are going to be following this up on day 1 with incredible stuff. If you guys aren't in consistency codes, I mean, like, have you been under a rock? Like, what's going on? I'm kidding. But I think that this is a very, very important conversation to have, because I think for a lot of women, this is the very thing that they are lacking in order to be able to take things to the next level. And I really, really, really hope that this training has helped. I really, really, really hope it's giving you a lot to think about. And I really hope that you do this exercise. Because the more that we can start to see the truth of who we are, the more that we can start to see our magic, the more that we can start to remind ourselves of that every single day, the more effortless this process will become. Just like the doctor with the Hawaii prisoners. Didn't even speak to them. They just changed because they believed something different about themselves. They tapped into their magic, their power. And so that is what today's class is for you. To remind yourself of your magic, of your power, of your potential. Because when you believe that, when you start your day believing that every single day, even on your worst days, you're still going to feel unstoppable. So I love you all. I hope that this has helped. And for those of you who are interested in doing consistency codes, if you haven't signed up yet, I'm going to leave the link to sign up and register. Today is the last day that you can get it for $144. As of, I think it's tonight, it's going up to $222. Maybe tomorrow. It'll be going up to $222. So, I mean, I would kind of run, not walk on this one. Don't sleep on this, as they say. But either way, even if you're not interested, if your belief system isn't there, I really, really hope that this helped and that it is giving you something, a lot of things actually, to think about. All right, guys, I love you. Have a great weekend.